For many people, at least in my experience, life is pretty difficult, and we're taught that from a young age, it's not gonna be simple, at least for most people. And, well, this movie, I think, teaches you a lot about how life can go in different directions, and how you can kind of try to find a balance in what you have. It's probably one of my favorite movies, and definitely one that I watched a lot when I was younger. I used to get scared of it sometimes, and I'd hide behind the couch. But I remember I would always feel, I guess, different after watching it. And after years of not watching it, I went back, and I noticed a lot of new things. And a lot of lessons that probably to an extent taught me, unconsciously. So I want to talk about this movie a little bit. Princess Mononoke is one of Studio Ghibli's slightly more early films, as well as one of their more popular ones, and being one that, as I said before, I watched a lot as a child. It has a lot of environmental themes, which are almost always in most of Miyazaki's films, and this one more or less focuses on trying to strike a balance, not just outside yourself, but within. And probably one of the best examples of this is our main character, Prince Ashitaka, who, after fighting a demon, is cursed by it. This curse, it grants him power, rage, all these things, but it's slowly killing him. It's almost like poison. And throughout this entire journey, it's him trying to discover how he can kind of overcome this new emotion, this new feeling that seems to be overwhelming him completely. And he's not exactly the original curse either. Almost everyone can possess it. It's inside of every single person, and inside of every single god as well. When they start to lose sight of who they are, when they start to obsess, when they start to feel nothing but pure rage, they change into demons themselves, becoming these grotesque masks, and my god, they are horrifying. Another interesting thing I will add is that this movie doesn't exactly have a villain. There is sides, yes, but there are no, this is your big bad evil man, or, this is the overarching villain who's going to be, causing all of the problems in your world. Instead, you have the Forest, who are simply trying to live and are trying not to die out, since humans are taking all of the wood to use for their furnaces to create iron. And you have the humans, who are trying to survive. Each has their leader, being San, who is the Princess of the Wolves, and then you have Lady Eboshi, the leader of the human village, or Iron Town. And Lady Eboshi isn't really an evil person either. She wants to remain independent, and she wants to make sure that the people who live in her village don't die. It's not a huge thing with villains that you'd normally expect. You just have two sides. And even Lady Eboshi isn't, completely trying to destroy the forest. She's just trying to keep her people alive, and also trying to stay away from being taken over by the shogunate. One of the things they try to do is trade iron, and, in order to combat the shogun, they create weapons like guns, which are very important because the people in Japan have almost no access to these, I think, at the time, except for Lady Eboshi. I don't know if this actually correlates with Japanese history, but I do find it a little interesting touch. And Lady Eboshi herself is a very, very well-written character, and probably one of my favorites. one thing that I wanted to give a kind of quick little synopsis and I guess opinion on is the music of this movie. And oh, the music is absolutely beautiful. Each of the soundtracks are purely orchestral, and they fit each of the scenes perfectly, and they're usually spread out pretty evenly too. One of my personal favorites is at the very end of the movie. It's a spoiler, so I'm not really gonna say, but it is one of my favorite soundtracks in the entire movie, and each score is very fitting. They seem to kind of paint the pictures of the actual landscapes and stuff, or sort of let's say when Ashitaka is traveling around, you have the music of him moving from place to place, or you have the music for when combat ensues, when he has to fight, things like that. Each track is suited to either the situation or the environment, and I think that's a very smart idea because sometimes you'll have music that is really good, but it doesn't exactly fit with what's going on around. In the end, this movie has a very high message of finding peace and a balance within yourself and the environment you live around, be it your family life, internal struggles, emotions, stuff like that. And I appreciate that because personally I have some stuff that I go through. Not all the time, but not exactly alone in that. And some movies don't exactly address it well, and I'm glad that this one did a phenomenal job. Because it shows two people who are trying to come to a resolution with themselves.